So, welcome back to another episode of Chalk Talk. It's been a little bit. I don't know. Actually, maybe it hasn't. Maybe it's in my
10
head.
days
10 days.
since our last post, but probably by the time we post this, who knows? But I hopefully we post this soon because these Mastercard earnings are coming up, so that'd be cool. But
Yeah.
anyway, welcome
I
back to
mean, we
another
had
episode
to
of
we
Chalk
had to
Talk.
cancel the other one because I was too sick. That's what happened.
Yeah, and then I was very tired. But anyways, welcome back to another episode of Chalk Talk. Today's episode,
Welcome back. Thank you
Visa.
for coming back.
I always have to wait. Yeah, and today's episode is Visa versus Mastercard. Yes, indeed. But yeah, Visa versus Mastercard. I did it for two reasons. Well, it's Visa and it's Mastercard. They're the two largest payment processors on the entire planet, and they are, well, yes, like I said, number one and two, but they are kind of, well, they're rivals.
Okay.
Yeah, from what I was reading, actually, they're kind of like, I guess you could compare it for the people who will get the reference, but Ferrari versus Lamborghini. You know the Ferrari versus Lamborghini story?
No, tell me about it.
Well, okay, so just quick to get the reference. Well, for me, MasterCard versus Visa is kind of like the Lamborghini versus Ferrari, but in like the finance world. So
Wait,
Lamborghini,
sorry, we're gonna have to restart.
12 seconds later.
so yeah, for me, MasterCard versus Visa is like Lamborghini versus Ferrari, but for the finance world.
Mhm.
And so the reference is, for the people who don't know, um, is that so Lamborghini was originally uh, a guy who was a farmer in Italy, and he started making tractors and tractor engines, and he started his own company. And then there was the other guy, Ferrari, Enzo Ferrari, who made sports cars, racing cars, made Ferrari. But Ferrari was having some sort of problem. I forget exactly. There was like one specific problem that they kept having. And Lamborghini, the guy who is the farmer who was making tractors and tractor engines, tried to go and use like constructive criticism and to Enzo Ferrari to tell him like, "Hey, I notice you're having this one problem with your cars. I know what to do and I can help you." Enzo Ferrari kind of took it like an insult, and he was like, "You don't know anything about cars and race cars or anything like that. Like, go back. You're a farmer. Go back and make your tractors and your tractor engines." So Lamborghini, basically, he was like, "Oh, screw you." He got pissed off and he created his own car, Lamborghini, Lamborghini Ferrari. Kind of Lamborghini just started almost like basically in spite of Ferrari for insulting them. And that's similar. It happened kind of ish, not very similar, but in a sense, with Visa versus MasterCard. So Visa started in San Francisco, California, and it was started by Bank of America as a bank issued card.
Bank of America started Visa.
Yes.
Side note, Ferrari's coming out with a movie, but that's end side note.
Yeah. They're also a publicly traded company. Um, so yeah, Visa was basically started by Bank of America initially in San Francisco, and they were started as, like I said, they were a bank issuance card originally by Bank of America, and then Mastercard was created by a quote alliance of several banks and regional bank card associates. I'm sorry, associations in response to the Bank of America issued now Visa. So it was literally started in spite of, and MasterCard, which is initially started, and then owned as a cooperative by more than 25,000 financial institutions prior to its IPO, initial public offering. So it's kind of like the Visa versus, like I said, Visa versus Mastercard. Like it's like the Lamborghini versus Ferrari. Like Mastercard was basically started in spite of and against Visa, and Lamborghini was started in spite of Ferrari.
Hmm.
So yeah, when I was reading, I was like, oh yeah, and Mastercard is still second to Visa. So, and I was like, all right, let's have a Visa versus Mastercard episode. They're both pretty good stocks from what I looked at. But I wanted to do a comparison and have an episode on it. But yeah, that's a little bit of a backing. So yeah, one is from San Francisco and the other one is in New York.
Okay,
One started by Bank. Yeah,
that's interesting.
yeah. One was allegiance of like smaller and regional banks, and then the other one was Big Dog Bank of America. Was like, all right, yeah.
Well
Well,
then,
that's a little bit of the backstory of that. It was interesting. I never knew that until
and since then they've kind of been each other's like main competitor, you
yeah,
would
they're
say.
number one and
Yeah,
two for payment processing companies.
yeah. Um,
And
but
even in
yeah,
crypto, people are always comparing their transaction speeds with Visa. Like, oh, like for example, like oh, Solana or XRP, and then they compare it with Visa's transaction speed. And now Visa's working a lot with Ethereum, so that's also going to be something interesting.
yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, so are we ready for a little bit of news? Because there
Hmm.
was something I found out that I didn't tell you. Speaking of um crypto and stuff, right? So basically, I didn't pull too much, but both Visa and Mastercard are investing into things like AI startups and fintechs and crypto, right? And
Hmm.
something I thought was interesting, Mastercard launches crypto program for banks and fintechs, and the payment company it's using is partnered with Paxos Trust Company. Does that name sound familiar? Paxos, PayPal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so Paxos might be something we might have to look into
Hmm.
because that's becoming a name for a lot of like new ventures for these a little larger companies. Um, Mastercard unveiled its new program to help banks and fintech firms offer crypto trading and other services to their customers. The payments company said on Monday, this was from October 17th. It has partnered with the Paxos Trust Company to roll out the so-called Crypto Source program, which will enable banks to offer crypto trading, follow regulatory compliance, and manage security. And I just thought that was interesting. So I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, Paxos might be something definitely to dive into a little bit more. And
Hmm.
then
Tax.
for Visa, Visa invest, this was October 2nd. This was like a big thing with Visa. Visa to invest 10 million, oh no, I'm sorry, 100 million into generative AI startups. It is launching a $100 million venture initiative to invest into generative AI startups. It will be in charge of investments, look forward to further develop artificial intelligence technologies and applications. And they said it will also meaningfully change the way commerce is needed to be understood because commerce overall will be changed by AI and crypto. So I mean they got some stuff they're trying to do. They're trying to go global. They got their fintech fast track, Visa Everywhere initiative. I don't know if that's any more blatant, to help other startups around the globe. Mastercard going into fintechs and crypto for banks. Um, but then one of the big things was is that they're trying to raise their fees, right? Visa merchants could end up paying an extra. This is Visa and Mastercard. Merchants could end up paying an extra 502 million annually in fees, and according to a consulting firm, Visa's 0.92 increase green up pointage triangle and Mastercard's 1.43 increase green up pointing triangles are planning to increase their fees that many merchants pay when they accept customers' credit card payments, and um, the government's not happy about it.
Hmm.
So the FTC so Visa and Mastercard draw new government scrutiny over debit card routing. The FTC for the past few years has already been probing whether Visa and Mastercard block merchants from routing payments over other debit card networks. The networks acknowledged an FTC probe in regulatory filings in recent years. So they're trying to raise their fees, and they're under scrutiny for blocking other type of debit card payments so they can get that money. And now I saw that you shared with me shares in Visa and Mastercard slide on expected Federal Reserve fee cap proposal. I couldn't quite. So they're trying to, this whole antitrust stuff going on with other companies like Google and stuff. The government's like, hey, you're raising fees, people can't pay. We want that money. I assume it's more so like they want the money instead of them getting the money. Like, if you're not going to give us a cut, then you can't take the money type thing. And like we were talking about before, how these companies are kind of being a little unethical. I mean, business unethical, tomato at this point, I guess. But I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff going on in the news, and now supposedly the shares slid in price because the Federal Reserve has a proposal to cap the fees on Visa and Mastercard. I don't know how much power they have in being able to do that, but there's some turbulence on the market about that. So that's just some interesting information. They're being probed. They're dominant in the market. They're being blamed for, monopolizing, essentially, in layman's terms. They're trying to monopolize the market according to the government and
payments markets.
Yeah, so I mean, they're making everybody's making moves, but I mean, how are they doing on the stock front, I guess? Or unless you want to know a little bit more about that. What are your thoughts on that? On like the raising the fees and then bulldozing others out of the way so they can't, use other regulatory transactions and stuff like that. The government getting involved. I'm like, if the government wants to get involved, can we start with places that make a little bit more sense? But I think this does make sense, but also like,
I mean, yeah.
The government's getting on these companies' cases for being unethical while also being unethical. So that's just how I feel about it. Like, we're going to turn a blind eye to funds, but hey, you want to make more money? We need that. So you can't do that.
You're not. Yeah. It's interesting, though. They're all kind of like working together-ish.
Yeah, don't step on my toes. We're both stealing, but don't step on my toes.
We're both stealing.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Now Mastercard with crypto too. Interesting. You said?
Yeah, so sorry, one moment. Let me find it again. Mastercard launches crypto program for banks and fintechs. So banks are trying, it's interesting because fintechs are trying to become the new banks, and Master and Visa card are like, hey, we can cater to both of you guys. Let's just find a way to slip crypto as more accessible, which is funny because I was literally complaining to you earlier about how difficult it's becoming to buy crypto like casually. So it's trying to get a piece of the pie.
Yeah, I mean, was it now on we're getting away from Visa and MasterCard, but I mean, you can buy like crypto basic ones. Like it's interesting to see now, like on PayPal and Venmo and Cash App, you can buy like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Dogecoin.
Well, if they can get you buying crypto on their platforms, they can take a fee from you. That's money. If they can
Yeah, it's
get you to
99
buy
cents.
if they can get you to buy their crypto, they can just hold it. Like when you put your money into the bank, your money doesn't really stay in the bank. The bank takes that, invests it for themselves, and you get a tiny, tiny cut. So basically, all these companies are trying to hedge against the economy and just line their pockets a little bit more. I don't know if they're hurting and want to line their pockets, or they're just seeing an opportunity and trying to line their pockets. It's probably a little bit of both. But I mean, that's what's happening, because you're gonna have random companies turning into fintech companies like Apple. I mean, it's been for a while, but I'm just
Well,
like,
yeah,
it's been like that for a while, but it's just like, oh, we're now gonna be a bank, but not a bank because we're not federally secured. We're not FDIC secured,
yeah,
but we will
not
take your
yet.
money and make you feel secure until shit hits the fan.
Yeah, not yet. Anyway, sure, Bank of America. I mean, no, don't do it. No, not financial advice.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyhow,
So,
but yeah, Visa, Mastercard, huh?
mm-hmm.
They're not hurting financially, I can tell you that.
Then they're just trying to get into the cash cow. They're like, hey,
Their numbers
you
are
got
both really good.
problems? We can help you with
Yeah,
your problems. Just give us a cut.
yeah, of course. They do well in all economies, recessions, and in good markets.
Well, that's probably
So
why they're being probed for
yeah,
monopolizing the market
yeah,
because that's what they're
yeah,
doing.
they're both good buys in good and bad markets.
Yeah.
Visa and Mastercard. But yeah, they both have really, really good numbers, but especially Visa. Visa has like flawless numbers.
I haven't looked too much into it myself, but I am interested what you have to say about it. I mean, I'm always
Yeah,
interested, but
as
I
of
need to talk
recently,
about it.
as of recently, probably the best two numbers. Well, uh, numbers wise and like earnings reports, probably the best three stocks I've seen as of recently: Visa, Netflix, and Baidu. But yeah, Visa numbers are really good. But before we really get specifically into like those numbers,
Mm-hmm.
I did a side by side comparison of all of the information to
Oh, I like
compare the
that.
stocks.
Mm-hmm.
So um, to start with, the market caps. Visa has a current market cap of 374.52 billion, and Mastercard has a market cap of 321.1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
So Visa has a slightly larger market cap by of roughly 53 billion and change.
That makes sense because I feel like I see more Visa on cards than I do
Yeah,
MasterCard.
yeah, they're the number one payment processing company and by numbers and size, and then Mastercard for two by size and numbers and like transactions. Um, so now we have the shares outstanding. So now here there's another big difference here. But I guess as an investor, you want probably the smaller float, right? You want a float that can be moved easier, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here we have Mastercard has a shares outstanding of 942 million with a Visa of just over 2 billion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep. The free floats are 835 million for Mastercard is the free float. So that's the shares amount traded for like retail. And again, free float significantly higher, 1.6 billion. So it's about Visa has a free float about 2.5 times the size of Mastercard's. They have a higher market cap by 50 plus billion, but their free floats and their shares outstanding are about 2.5 times the size.
So Mastercard's probably a it's an easier move
Yeah, with
than
volume, yeah,
Visa.
definitely. Yeah, like if you're talking like to move out of stock on any given day with volume, yeah, MasterCard would definitely be easier to move with 835 million comparatively to 1.6 billion on the free float.
Yeah.
They both pay a dividend. Um, the dividend on Visa is 1.8, which is a dividend yield of 0.77%.
Mm-hmm.
And MasterCard has a dividend of 2.280, which is a dividend yield of 0.59%. So right there, we see a higher dividend with Visa on also a smaller current stock price.
Wait, a
So
higher
yeah,
dividend on
yield.
yield. Okay. But the
Yeah,
payout is actually more on Mastercard.
yeah, but that yield is slightly higher. It's 0.77 versus 0.59%.
Hmm.
And current share price of Visa is 233.38. It closed this week out. And MasterCard is a lot more expensive price per share right now. It's trading, it closed out the week at 384.41. So that's about $150 more a share. So it's gonna have to cost, you're gonna have to buy more of MasterCard to get that dividend.
Yeah. And it's gonna cost you a way lot more.
Yeah, to get that dividend yield. And I'm looking, I mean, the dividend yield is slightly higher on MasterCard, but the yield is higher on Visa with a
Mm.
with a smaller share price.
Yeah.
So I guess just
Mhm.
it's not by much, but I mean, it's a significant, you're gonna be able to buy more equity in Visa.
Yeah.
Well, price per share, but you're going to be able to buy more equity overall with MasterCard because it has the smaller market cap and the smaller free float.
Hmm. This is, kind of interesting. It looks like MasterCard has a slightly better chart too.
MasterCard,
Just
you know,
just superficially on the 6 month. But yeah.
yeah. I didn't really look too much into like the into the charts myself. I mean, I looked at like highs, lows, 52-week, all that stuff, but I didn't really look specifically into the charts. But yeah, MasterCard's charts, he looks a little bit more bullish over the last 6 months.
Yeah. I mean, but they both look like they're good long-term holds. Just don't buy now. That's
Mm,
from this
yeah.
superficial look at it, it looks like they're
Yeah,
don't buy
before we get
now.
into that,
Yeah.
for me, I probably would wait my not financial advice, but my buy zone before we really get more specific into that is probably I'd probably wait for Visa to go like low two,
Like
like 200.
216. Oh,
Yeah, maybe
200.
205, 205, 210.
I think
If it
I
breaks
think
under 216,
yeah, if it breaks like 216, that's a huge buy signal, definitely.
like to 210, maybe 205 would be a nice buy.
Oh, it
Because it has
could. It could, depending on how things go. It
with a
could.
crap market like we're in right
Yeah.
now, the S&P drops, the Nasdaq drops a little bit more, which they have been. The Nasdaq got destroyed this week.
But the thing is, with all this debt, people, I mean, with all this, yes, that's exactly what it is. With all these financial problems, there's a lot of people are going into debt, and it's their Visa and
Yeah,
Mastercards that they're
I'd
using.
like to buy. Yeah,
And they're
like right now the
making
market
a
cap.
ton of money. These
Yeah,
companies are probably making a lot of money off of people going into extreme debt.
if I had to bet the next company to join the $1 trillion club, it's gonna be Visa. If I had
It's
to bet personally,
Yeah, I think that's another thing because the government can see that they're just pocketing change, just
they're
bills
gonna
from all the
follow
debt,
the.
everybody, because the debt has skyrocketed.
Yeah,
Personal debt, credit card
yeah,
debt has skyrocketed. So
yeah. It's funny though. So it's like it's kind of like confusing these two stocks. Like if I had to choose, it's very difficult because on the chart, like you say, Mastercard's looking a little bit more bullish, but like dividend right now, and then the PE ratio, which I know again, it's not like hyper important, but it's definitely a thing I look at. Like comparing the PE ratios, trailing 12 months. So Visa has a 29.61 versus Mastercard's 36.01. And those are the trailing 12 months. So for the last 12-month average, those are their PE or price per earnings. Moving forward, they're both
mm,
improving. But Visa is still a lot lower. Um, the moving forward, the PE ratio is expected to improve. Visa from 29 61 to 26.91, and then Mastercard from the 36.01 that I had mentioned down to 31.63. So they're both getting better. Still both a little high overall, but not horrible. And something else interesting I noticed when you're talking about the charts, the last 3 months, Mastercard's pretty bullish. Because if you look at the last 3 months, the average volume is 2.32 million on the free float of 835 million, which is a lot higher percentage than Visa. Visa has overall a higher average 3 months volume of 5.29 million. But like we said earlier, the shares outstanding in the free floats significantly over a billion and like 2.5 to 3 times the size of Mastercard's.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're trading 5.29 million on an average day for the last 3 months. And Mastercard's doing 2.32, but it's at a higher percentage because it's a third of the float of Visa. So it's trading a little bit higher on an average percentage, I'd say, on like a daily. Um, Another interesting thing is we're probably gonna have to do an update video on both of these. Maybe we'll just keep it as one. I
Yeah.
don't know. It'll be our payment processor episode.
Payment process.
Slash getting into crypto like everyone else, like PayPal, also a Chalk Talk stock. But the next earnings are coming up this week. That's why I was like, oh, can we get this posted soon? The next earnings for Visa is 10/24, October 24th.
Okay.
And 2 days after, before market open, for Mastercard is October 26th, before
Oh.
market open.
Oh, they're very close.
Yeah. All the third quarters, companies are releasing this week coming up into like the end of the second week of November. There's so many earnings. My calendar, like PayPal, Coca-Cola, 3M, Apple, Palantir Technologies, Visa, Mastercard, like this is like GameStop,
Mhm.
AMC. It's like for the next 2 weeks, there's like I have like all these earnings calls to watch. Apple's is big because Apple, like Microsoft, is the market. So Apple has a bad earnings report, the market goes down. Apple has a good earnings report, it's like, all right, we're good. But anyways, that's a whole other episode. But quickly to get into the analysts, the buy, hold, and strong buy, and then the price points for analysts. They each have overall analysts from banks to financial institutions. Overall, they both had, I believe, like from a pool of over 30. And I looked at CNBC, Yahoo Finance, and then Webull. It was overall, Visa has a strong buy at 29%. MasterCard, 28% strong buy. 29, 28,
Yeah. I mean,
1%. Now, buy, regular buy. Visa, 58%. MasterCard, 60%. Hold, Visa, 13%. MasterCard, 12%.
yeah, they seem both pretty steady right now.
It just kept pretty. I don't think it's get any closer. Um, I'm gonna go over the analyst price targets for Visa first, and then I'm gonna go over Mastercards. So the max is on Visa. They're saying it's at 39% here from the current price of 233.38, which would put you at a $325 Visa. The average is an 18% gain from here, which would put you at a $276 Visa. And the minimum would put you at a negative 5.73, which would put you at a $200 Visa. So if it breaks under that 216, maybe you can see that $200. Now, MasterCard's looking pretty good because their minimum is not even a negative. Their minimum, Visa had a negative minimum of 5.73%. So I'm going to start on the other side with MasterCard. minimum plus 4.06%. Average an 18% gain from here from 384 to $453 Mastercard, and a max of a 29% gain for a $496 Mastercard from the current price of 384.41. Visa has a 52-week high of 250.06, so it's just trading $20 under its 52-week high, with a 52-week low of 185.05. Mastercard 52-week high of 418.60, so it's trading roughly, what's that, like $31, $30 and change under its 52-week high, and a 52-week low of 293.50, so almost $100 up from its 52-week low. And then the last thing to compare the stocks, their earnings per share is trailing 12 months. Forgive me. Visa has a EPS of 7.83 per share, with Mastercard trailing 12-month EPS of 10.67. Visa wins on the EPS, I'd say. I mean, yeah, you have a higher EPS with Mastercard, but a lower share price, so you are getting a higher percentage.
Yeah.
Their net margin is slightly better than Mastercard. Well, I don't know if I want to say slightly. Well, let everyone be the judge of that. The net margin on Visa is 51.16% net margin. Mastercard 45.38%, so that's give or take about 5.5-ish% difference. Return on equity, real big difference. Win for Mastercard on this side though. Visa is 10.72%. Mastercard 51.79%. But overall, I'm gonna say Visa is the winner. They have a significantly better debt to asset ratio. Visa is at 56.32% in a horrible economy with the world on brink of World War III. And Mastercard has a debt to asset ratio of 85.70%, roughly 29 and some odd change percent higher.
Yeah.
I looked through all their numbers as far as like net margins and return on asset, return on equity, book value per share. Their balance sheets are extremely similar. Well, not numbers, but liabilities to assets are both very similar. I would say the only thing that separates the stock numbers wise, they both have very impressive numbers, very healthy numbers over the last 5-6 quarters. I went back. I'd say the only real big difference with those is Visa has a better overall net margin. Their last 6 quarters are all positive. Visa has a few negative, not by much, by a few percentage, but consistently through the board and through the last 6 quarters, Visa has had nothing but positive net margin, and that is really the only difference other than their debt to asset ratio are the only real big two differences. But for me, in my opinion, not financial advice, but if I have to choose and I'm picking one, I'm buying one, I can only buy one, probably gonna buy Visa.
Well, it has a better entry price, so
Especially if you can get in at that 216 or under.
yeah, that would be the buying signal.
Yeah, that would be like drop whatever you got in there. Not
Because
financial advice, but
you're not gonna get much. You're not gonna get much better buying price after that.
yeah, you can. Yeah, I mean, you could probably have an upside of from there of I don't know, a good solid 50-60 bucks. But I mean, according to analysts,
Yeah, I mean, even
they're
for
saying,
Mastercard, if you hit like 369, that's a buying signal. And that's not
oh
far
yeah,
from its price right now because I don't really see
yeah,
it. I don't really see it dipping much more.
yeah. Yeah, I would like to get in. Yeah, both of them. I would say market caps of low 300 billion. Mastercard maybe high twos, and that'd be good long-term holds.
Yeah, you just hold
I mean, you
those
can make money. Really, you can make money in one of them. Pop, I mean, pop 50, $60, $70 on a good
top,
run.
maybe, but you would have to have a lot of money put into them to make it make sense.
Yeah, to make it make sense, probably 20 grand. Um,
20 grand. I'm gonna say a little bit more than that.
yeah, well, you could sit on it for 2 quarters, make some dividends, and oh, make 30, 45%. People who have 20 grand to throw out one stock aren't sweating for six
That's
months.
true. That's true. That is true. But if I could,
If I'm like, oh, Visa's a little undervalued, 25K, let me make a nice little
that's what I'm saying.
35%
25,
gain, some
30K,
dividend.
25,
Yeah,
30K throwaway cash. Oh,
I'm talking, I'm
that's
talking
potato
some
chip
like
money.
real adult money here, you know?
Yeah. This is not your this is not your
Well, hey,
middle
this
class
is the time
family.
if yeah, no, I mean, that's what I'm saying. This is the time if you have savings is a good time to start looking at to buy companies are in this crap
Yeah.
market. It's like, oh wow, you get your good discounts, your good buys, you're patient, you make your money.
Anyway,
But
let's wrap up.
yeah, let's
So
wrap it up. Yeah, but to close it out, on one last uh part, price reference, I guess. Yahoo Finance has them both a buy. Mastercard has it a buy. Um, says near fair value, but with a 12% estimated return and a 1 year target of $430 on MasterCard. And just to refresh your memory, MasterCard is 384. So they have a 430.02 1 year target. And they have a estimated near fair value, but a positive return of 9% on Visa, but with a 1 year target of 262.09. But anywho,
yeah.
and then their top three holders are, well, the usual three would hold most of the market. Well, as you know, Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about those three soon.
Yeah. But anyways, that's everything on my end.
Yeah.
But both buys for me. But Visa versus Mastercard is Visa. Financial advice.
Yeah. My non-financial advice is curb that credit spending.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Definitely.
Why the
Visa's
United States
profiting
government's
off of your
saying.
Visa and MasterCard are profiting off of your pain. But
Mhm.
yeah.
Anywho,
Well, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming back if you're old, and thanks for coming if you're new, and thank
not
just thank
literally. Well,
just thank you for tuning in.
yep. Thanks for watching another episode of Chalk Talk. It was real. It was a good episode. Another one of the books. See you
Take
later.
care. Bye.
Have a good morning, a good afternoon, a great night, and we'll see you in the next one with an awkward ending.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello. Hello.
Your voice sounded different. 1 second.
Yeah, I'm still a bit under the weather, so it's been my voice has been a little weird today. Because I'm
Yeah.
sick forever. That's what it feels like.
You need exercise, sleep, water, and vitamins,
I need to become a billionaire.
and sun.
I just need to take like billions of dollars and inject it into my bloodstream. Solve all my
Yes.
problems. Apparently, supposedly, allegedly.
All right, ready?
Yeah,
We have our 2 minutes of awkwardness.
it's fine. I'm not saying anything. I'm just getting ready.
You were saying something.
I am saying something literally, technically, allegedly, supposedly. Sorry, I'm done.
Mhm.
Something's wrong with my tech. It's not picking up. It's not reading anything. And I just don't want this recording. I'm dropping everything. Okay. Never mind. Let's just keep it going.
Anywho,
Should I just cut that out?
yeah. So I don't know where to restart. Okay,
Lamborghini
I'm gonna
versus
restart here. Okay, ready? Hold on. Yes.